So welcome then to Stamford Bridge, home of Chelsea Football Club, for this Premier League fixture between two clubs in the middle of huge Champions League ties. It's Chelsea against Newcastle United, and there's Premier League points at stake, and we're off and underway at Stamford Bridge in this Premier League fixture between Chelsea and Newcastle. Chelsea with a win, they can move into third. Newcastle meanwhile need to find consistency in a league season when they've lost more games than they've won. Chelsea, if you know Stamford Bridge, are attacking from right to left away from the Matthew Harding stand in this first half. Mark Schwarzer is alongside me. I'm Sahel Sahi, and we're right at the back of the main stand. A fantastic view overlooking Stamford Bridge. Two changes to the Chelsea lineup from their defeat away at Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. And Newcastle, Eddie Howe has made 6 changes from the 1-1 draw at home against Barcelona in the same competition. Let's bring in Mark Schwarzer. We played a minute. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 0.
Yeah, it's a game that obviously Chelsea won off the back of midweek in the Champions League against PSG. Disappointing result. Performance probably was not bad. Just defensively, they were exposed quite a lot. And I mean, when you're playing against top quality opposition, that's what's going to happen. They want to make sure they'll get back to winning ways here at Stamford Bridge against an opposition who have pretty much underwhelmed this season, I would have to say. Certainly domestically, doing reasonably well in the Champions League, of course. Great result against Barcelona. Possibly a little bit disappointed they didn't get to all 3 points, or certainly take an advantage in the second leg. However, I think for them, Newcastle, it's about trying to get a result, trying to continue momentum. But Chelsea will do whatever they can to try and get back to winning ways.
So Newcastle with possession, playing in their black and white stripe shirts, black shorts and socks inside the penalty area. That was pulled into the box by Murphy. Their captain cleared away by Cucurella. Throw-ins taken quickly. Game just settling down. Ball's currently out of play. The throw-in for Newcastle. I'll run you through the two lineups when I get a break in play. It's Livramento just pulling up his socks, who will take this throw-in down to our right-hand side, which is the near side for Newcastle in this first half. Taking his time, every single Chelsea player inside the penalty area. To our right, here comes Livramento, arcs his back. It's on the chest of Pedro, the Brazilian. He runs away with it midway inside his own half now, plays the ball infield. Garnacho is one of the 2 changes that Liam Rossini has made to his. The other one is Robert Sanchez, who is in goals, wearing all orange to our right. So Sanchez is in goals. It's Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah and Cucurella making up the back 4. In midfield, James, Caicedo and Fernandes. James, the captain, talk about him shortly, signing a new 6-year deal which will keep him at the club now to 2032. And then Palmer, Garnacho and Pedro up front. So the 2 changes, Sanchez in goals, Jorgensen misses out due to a slight groin issue, and Neto, who is suspended, an extra 1 match ban after picking up a red card against Arsenal in the Premier League. 6 changes for Newcastle. Eddie Howe resting a few of his first choice 11 for their trip to Barcelona in the Champions League next Wednesday evening, which of course you can hear on 5 Live. This is 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 0 after 4 minutes, and the aforementioned James with his new 6-year deal finds Palmer just right of the arc of the centre circle, goes back to Fernandes, and it's a slow and patient build-up by Chelsea. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, both sides are just feeling their way into this game, of course. Just a little while ago, Livramento having that long throw, took an age to throw it in. In the end, it was a really disappointing throw, ended up being short. João Pedro came out and controlled it, and Chelsea were on their way, certainly gaining possession again. So for Newcastle, both sides really have had indifferent form domestically They'll both want to try and get back to winning ways. Look, Newcastle are not out of the race of trying to qualify for Europe. That goes without saying, but they've got to start now. They can't keep waiting. They're running out of games, and for Chelsea, of course, they want to finish in the Champions League position.
Yeah, cross comes in from the left-hand side by Hall, taken by Sanchez. Just picking up your point on Newcastle, Mark. They're almost in no man's land in the Premier League currently. They've lost more games this season than they've won.
Yeah, that's right. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because they've still got a lot to play for, of course. They're in the Champions League still. 1-1 after the first leg against Barcelona. They've got domestically, what are they? I mean, you look at Chelsea in 5th place, and Newcastle, I say only. They're only 9 points behind. So it's still in reach to get up into those European places. But they've got to turn their results around really, really quickly. And for Chelsea, of course, they want to finish in the Champions League positions. They need to get points on the board. They need to put pressure on the teams above them. And Liverpool are right on their heels as well. They're on the same point. So Liverpool will be desperate to finish Champions League as well. So there's a lot to play for still between now and the end of the season for both sides.
6 minutes played. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 0. Long ball from back to front by Caicedo trying to pick out Garnacho. And Ramsdale collected it on the edge of his penalty area, wearing a, how would I describe it? It's a all purple goalkeeping outfit. White gloves with an orange band around both hands. So 6 changes for Newcastle United. Botman, Livramento, Willock, Walter Mada, Murphy and Gordon come into the team. Trippier, Byrne, Joe Linton, Osula and then Langer, they're on the bench, while Tonali misses out because he is poorly. So Ramsdale's in goals, the back four from right to left for Newcastle. You're not missing much here at the moment. The ball's out of play. It's a throw-in for Chelsea in their right full-back area. 0-0, 7 minutes played. So it's Ramsdale in goals. The back four, Livramento, Chow, Botman and Hall. In midfield it's Willock, Ramsey, Walter Mada with Murphy the captain and Barnes either side of Anthony Gordon, who's back in the team after starting the Champions League match against Barcelona on the bench. Gusto goes back to Sanchez, all in orange, just outside his 6-yard box. Plays it short and square to Chalobah. Forward 10 yards to Fernandez, the Argentinian. Onto Cucurella. 5-yard forward pass to Garnacho, right below us here on the near side. It's given away. This is Livramento. Started out here at Chelsea. Didn't play for the first team. Got sold to Southampton. Now plays for Newcastle. Given the ball away. Gusto on the overlap from Palmer. Gusto heads towards the dead ball line, just outside the penalty area. Pulls it back for Palmer. Now into Caicedo, central area of the pitch. Onto Cucurella. Good play from Chelsea. 3 in the penalty area. Garnacho with the teasing ball to the far post. He's defended well. Is that a goal kick or a corner? It's a corner. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 0.
Yeah, it was a really dangerous ball into the box. Really good one from Garnacho as the ball was floating in. I felt that, Ramsdale was going to come for it. Didn't. It was one of those ones that started quite far away, but every little centimetre it went, drifted closer and closer to that far post area. It just goes wide. Lewis Hall is the one in the end that helps it on his way, but Joel Pedro was very, very close on getting the end of it.
Corner taken quickly. It's a short one. Comes back out to James. Now to Cucurella. Finds himself in the right back area, the left full back area of Newcastle, the right attacking area of Chelsea. He's usually on the near side of the pitch. He's over on the far side. Leaves the corner for his captain, Reece James. Signed now to 2032. Extended his contract for a further 4 years. Header comes in from Fofana from the corner. Wasn't far away. It grazed the roof of the net. It's a goal kick. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 0.
Yeah, beautiful ball from Reece James. It's hit with a semi-pace, a little bit of air in it. It's Fofana. He's in between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. He jumps from a standing position, rises, and it's a really good header. It's sort of directed and floating towards the near post area. Ramsdale, I'm not quite sure he had it covered, but it was a really good effort.
The corner from James, it's teasing, isn't it? Not much, doesn't seem like there's much pace on it, Mark, but it moves away, drifts away from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it makes it a bit difficult. It definitely wasn't for Ramsdale to come out and collect. Defending is difficult because it's high, and if someone gets an early jump, as did Fofana on that occasion, it's really difficult to defend against. The one thing that Newcastle will be fortunate about is that Fofana didn't have a real opportunity to get a lot of pace on the header. All he could do was try and guide it, and in the end he just slightly overclubbed, as we might say.
You never really used to see right-footed players take corners from that side. It used to be the left-footed player swinging it in. Seems to be fashionable again for the right-footed corner taker to take it so it's swinging away.
Yeah, look, I think it really depends on the setup you have, what type of tactic you employ. I think if you've got someone who can deliver the ball as well as Reece James, it doesn't matter if it's an in-swinger or an out-swinger. Equally, they can be really dangerous. They pose different threats, certainly for a goalkeeper's point of view. I think we'll see as the game goes on. We've seen also since Reece James has been back from injury that he's always a threat in those set-piece sort of positions.
Garnacho showing too much of the ball to Murphy, just slams it out of play. It's a throw-in taken by Chelsea back in their own half inside the centre circle. James just edges over the halfway line. Now it's Caicedo, just checks his shoulders and finds Garnacho down this near side, which is Chelsea's left hand side. If you're just joining us on 5 Sports Extra, we're live here in the capital at Stamford Bridge. It's Palmer just outside the penalty area, watching Chelsea 0, Newcastle 0. Gusto into the penalty area, trying to pick up Pedro, falls to James. He's encouraged to shoot by the shed end, but it lands into tier 2 of that famous stand here at Stamford Bridge, and it's a goal kick to the visitors Newcastle. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 0.
Yeah, it was really nice control play from Chelsea at the back line to begin with. Came out to Cucurella on the left hand side. He plays across back into the middle of the park to Reece James, and he plays a real straight ball to Cole Palmer, who's in acres of space. He's able to turn with the ball, run at goal. He had the opportunity to have a strike. I was actually really surprised he didn't let one go at Ramsdale in goal. He doesn't. He decides to play it out wide. The delivery in the box, I thought João Pedro was just a little bit slow at reacting to that ball, and as it came to Reece James, I thought he was caught in two minds. Wasn't sure he wanted to whip it into that near post area or whether he was going to try and just put his boot through the ball, and he did neither in the end.
Yeah, Chelsea won the ball high up. Garnacho inside the penalty, left hand side, trying to get away from Walter Marder. He does do so and eventually lost balance, and it trickled back to Ramsdale. I think we're going to see a lot of this transition football from both sides, Mark. They're both like to play out from the back. Newcastle occasionally go longer, quicker than Chelsea, but both teams will press high, which is happening at the moment. Ramsdale to Hall in the left full-back area. He clips it forward, trying to pick out Gordon. Good header by Fofana, cushions it to Fernandes. He's back to goal inside the centre circle. He's got James for company, and instead picks out Gusto. You were going to make a point off my point there, Mark.
Yeah, you look at the way that Newcastle is set up. They're set up with pace to burn up front. Harvey Barnes, Gordon, Murphy, Willock as well in midfield can easily get forward. Walter Marder obviously was the one that I think he's a lot quicker than maybe one would think. Definitely not as mobile as the others.
Gusto to Palmer inside the area. Oh, that really was the opening goal. Seemed to just graze the outside of the post. Good combination play between Gusto and Palmer, and he was drifting away with his left foot wrapped around the ball. Might have just grazed the outside of the post, but it's a goal kick again. 0-0.
I think the right hand side is a real threat. Malo Gusto is really good at running down that right hand side, either taking on players and going outside of them and whipping an early cross into the box, or he's not afraid to come inside. On this occasion, he's got a really good ball across into the middle of the pitch, and that's where Cole Palmer gets on the end of it. I have to say, he's got to score. He really has to score. He does clip the outside of the post. I think everyone in this ground thought it was in.
14 minutes played. 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Also on BBC Sounds. This is Premier League football. Currently on 5 Live, you've got Arsenal versus Everton. It's goalless at the Emirates. Conor McNamara and Pat Nevin, your commentary team there. Here we're watching alongside Mark Schwarzer. Played here a couple of times, didn't you, Mark, at Stamford Bridge? But you played down the road many times more for Fulham and also for Middlesbrough as well. They dropped a couple of points in the Championship today. An equaliser in the 96th minute. Mark Schwarzer alongside us in the commentary box. Thomas Tuchel is at Stamford Bridge today to watch this game. He'll be pleased because Eddie Howe has picked 8 English players in the 11, and also you've got the likes of Cole Palmer, Reece James and Trevor Chalobah lining up for Chelsea. Keeping an eye on Cole Palmer, he'll be wanting to impress the England manager. It's taken away from him by Pedro just outside the penalty area, and Newcastle trying to find some room to attack on the counter-attack. Here comes Barnes, everything to his right. Now Walter Mada splits to his left, he picks him out. Walter Mada try to play it back into the penalty area, run by Caicedo. Referee, who is Paul Tierney, allows play to continue. There's a nice flow to this game in the opening 15 minutes. Goalless between Chelsea and Newcastle. Garnacho attacking the penalty area, one step over, picks out Fernandes, he shoots but is blocked by Palmer. Palmer goes down, he felt that. He's on the side of his back actually. Comes back out to Garnacho, right footed but way wide into the lower tier of the shed end, and it's still Chelsea 0, Newcastle 0 mark.
Oh, it was a wicked shot from Enzo Fernandez out just on the edge of the box, and as he hits it, it was curving and dipping, and Cole Palmer couldn't get out of the way. There was no chance for him. Who knows if it was on target from our angle, but it looked awfully close. And that was a really quick transition from Chelsea. It was when Newcastle had the numbers. I thought the option was a poor one. Firstly, Waldemar was a little bit behind him, could have easily been a little bit further in front of him, could have run onto it a bit more. And instead, I think really limited his options, and the ball gets intercepted, and Chelsea's transition was exceptional.
I had a feeling before this game, Mark, we were going to be entertained, because their first meeting between the two sides, which finished 2-2, just a slight delay in the game, just for Cole Palmer to get his breath back. It's a goal kick for Newcastle, which finished 2-2 at St James's Park. That was a fantastic game, and this is turning out at the moment to be quite entertaining.
I mean, I think they're two teams that are really heavily sort of set up to attack. Whether it's Newcastle possibly a little bit more on the counter, but certainly can easily keep possession and also put Chelsea under a lot of pressure, and Chelsea have the quality as well going forward. So that's really set up for an entertaining game.
Yeah, one back by Walter Mada, stole the ball off James. Now Livramento midway inside Chelsea's half on this near side, the right for Newcastle. They're attacking from left to right as Mark and I watch right at the back of the main stand. Brilliant view right on the halfway line. We can see Liam Rossini, who's dancing from left to right, pointing to his players, hands in his black trouser pockets. They come out now. Once again, he does almost like a merengue dance, bends down, almost squats like, watching his side at the moment defended, because Newcastle have possession, but they're forced all the way back to their goalkeeper Ramsdale, who seems to have taken the number one spot off Nick Pope, Mark.
Yeah, well, he's played the last 4 out of the last 5 games for Newcastle. Interestingly,
Livramento through. This is a chance. Flag stay down. Is this a goal for Anthony Gordon? Rolls it in. The flag has stayed down. Newcastle have taken the lead. They sliced open a high Chelsea line. Gordon rolls the ball in. Sanchez can't believe it, but the goal does stand. It's Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1.
Wow, what a ball from Livramento, straight into the path of Willock. Willock then, he has 2 options. He either takes the keeper on himself and tries to put it away and score. Instead, what he does, he draws Sanchez out, lays it square, and it's a really simple tap-in for Newcastle and Anthony Gordon. And then, you know what, against a run of play, Chelsea are absolutely stunned.
They cut through the Chelsea defence. There was a high line. They still quite can't believe it. They're surrounding the referee Paul Tierney. Now the captain Reece James is having a word. It is being checked.
It just seems like one of those goals that it seems like he had to be offside. It just seems it was too easy. Not that it's going to be offside. I'm not sure. We haven't seen the replay. We can't have any monitors here. But as simple as it was a straight pass. Willock was through. A lot of people were in disbelief that he had so much space and was through. And then in the end, they were 2-on-1 for Sanchez, and Sanchez had no chance. And it looks like the goal is definitely going to stand. Yes, it is.
Yeah, the goal does stand. We're back underway. It's Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Anthony Gordon with the goal after 18 minutes. Fantastic point you made there, Mark. I'll pick up on it in a moment, because Chelsea just outside the Newcastle penalty area, and it's cleared away by Jacob Murphy, the captain today for Newcastle. The point you made, everyone seemed to stop because it looked so easy. One pass from the halfway line, sliced open the Chelsea defence. Willett was there. He took his time. I think he almost thought, is the flag going to raise? But let me finish the play off. Picked out Gordon, he does the rest.
I mean, his ball to Gordon wasn't particularly great. So, and almost like you said, he was almost thinking, am I onside or not? It just seemed way too easy. And as it stands, yes, it was onside, and it was just a really good ball, really good time run. And I have to say, some poor defending from Chelsea.
So Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. Gordon with his 5th Premier League goal of the season. Started the Barcelona game on the bench due to a little bit of illness, and he asked his manager Eddie Howe if he could start on the bench, but he's started today in one of 6 changes, and he's opened the scoring. And here's Palmer now running away from the arc of the centre circle, plays it down to this left hand side. Cucurella infield, it goes to Caicedo, back to Cucurella, and now James, and Chelsea just swapping passes between each other in their royal blue shirts and shorts and white socks, and Cucurella tripped from behind by Livramento. That was accidental. Free kick's been taken quickly by Caicedo. Garnacho keeps it from running out of play, a yard away from the dead ball line. Cucurella miscontrolled, wins it back off Murphy. Newcastle fans not pleased in the upper and lower tier of the shed end to our left hand side. Disagree with the referee there, Paul Tierney, but it comes out to Gusto. And now to James. Infield once again, Caicedo. Every single Newcastle player behind the ball. They've got something to defend now. They don't win often here at Stamford Bridge. Cross comes in from the right hand side, bounces once into the palms of Ramsdale. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, there's a couple of times now, isn't it, in this game where Gusto's had the ball out wide on the right hand side. He gets a pretty good delivery into the box, and all the Chelsea players are just watching. No one's making that darting run to the near post. There was a couple of occasions where they could have.
Yeah, Gordon goes down. Fofana showing a yellow card. He was getting away from him, wasn't he, Mark, there?
It's just sloppy once again from Chelsea. Fofana gets the ball. It's a little bit of an awkward one, not too difficult. He just takes too much time on it. Gordon closes him down, wins the ball, pokes it past him. As he pokes it past him, Fofana goes in for a challenge, and it's a clear yellow card, but just sloppy once again from Chelsea, and good play from Newcastle on that front foot, not sitting back, and they're happy enough to try and still go at Chelsea, not sit on this 1-goal lead.
So they'll have a free kick. So it's midway inside Chelsea's half. Good 10 yards in from that far touchline, which is Newcastle's left-hand side. They attack away from the shed end in this first 45 minutes. If you know Stamford Bridge, it's Premier League football on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Over on 5 Live at the moment, it's Arsenal against Everton, goalless at the Emirates. It's a free kick which Hall will take over the one-man wall. Loops it high to the far post. Chow's there, gets underneath it, but loops it up and over the crossbar, and it's a goal kick to Chelsea.
Oh, poor defending once again from Chelsea. It was a really good chance there from Chow. I mean, his defence, maybe the timing, maybe the ball was just a little bit too high from, couldn't keep it down. It's a free header from about 8 yards out. There's an opportunity to either go for that far post area or try and head it back across into the danger zone. Instead, just gets it too much on it, and it flies over the crossbar. That's one thing Chelsea need to work on. Their defending at the moment has been really, really suspect.
Early results in the Premier League ended Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1. 2 games kicked off at 5:30. We're here at Stamford Bridge watching Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1, and over on 5 Live it's Arsenal 0, Everton 0. 8 o'clock in East London tonight, West Ham taking on Manchester City, and you can hear reports of that into the final 6 Nations game of this season. It's France against England. If France win, they'll be the champions If England win, Ireland will be the champions, because if you missed it, they beat Scotland by 43 points to 21. They've won the Triple Crown, and they need their old enemy, the English, to beat the French. Voltemata wins the ball back, but foul by Caicedo, and that's another yellow card for the Ecuadorian this time.
Good pressure from Newcastle. Again, like I was saying, on the front foot, wanting to put pressure on the ball. As the ball comes into Wesley Fofana, he elects to chest it towards Caicedo. The problem you've got is Caicedo's running back towards him. He's got Waldemar on his shoulder. He's trying to chest the ball to him. It just creates problems. He slightly underhits it, and then Caicedo's lunging. Waldemar gets there just before him, and that's where the foul comes. And Chelsea again put themselves under pressure.
That's the voice, the familiar voice of Mark Schwarzer on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Hall leaves it for Livramento. There's a slight tap to Livramento. Cross comes in from Murphy. It's deflected by Garnacho. Cucurella with a stooping header. Garnacho gets himself in a bit of a muddle, helped out by Caicedo. And now Chalobah clears it out to Gusto. He's got space to attack. Comes over the halfway line on the right hand side. Finds Fernandes. He comes in field, midway inside Newcastle's half. Chelsea trailing at home to Newcastle by a 1-0. They've not won here at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League since the end of January, when they beat West Ham by 3-2. Cucurella 15 yards in from this near touchline, which is the left hand side for Chelsea. Out it goes to the right hand side to Gusto. Every single Newcastle player diligently behind the ball. Fofana now to James, short and square to his right hand side. Pedro's inside the penalty area. Palmer joins him, so does Garnacho, but they have to wait. And it's Caicedo, central area of the pitch, 10 yards away from the edge of the penalty area. It's poked away by Barnes, only as far as James. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Patient from Chelsea, but they're not really going anywhere. It's going sideways and backwards. It's defending well by Newcastle. Garnacho now to Fernandes, his fellow Argentinian. Once again, every single Newcastle player behind the ball. And Chelsea are only 10 yards away from the edge of Newcastle's penalty area. Can't find a way past this massed ranked of black and white striped shirts. The ball eventually has gone out of play. It's a throw in for Newcastle.
Yeah, frustrating from Chelsea. A lot of possession, like you said, sideways, backwards, across from one side of the pitch to the other. Newcastle shuffling well, working hard, just no gaps. And then what happens is Chelsea are consistently trying to go through the middle. There's just no room, and they run out of space, run out of ideas, and in the end they're forcing things and giving the ball straight back to Newcastle.
And here they come, Newcastle over the halfway line with Hall. Finds Barnes, Voltemada and Gordon inside the penalty area. Has a nice 1-2 between Barnes and Hall, but the initial pass from Hall was a bit too strong. It runs out of play. It's a goal kick to Chelsea. Robert Sanchez back in the team. It's the 5th time in 5 matches that Liam Rosenior has changed his goalkeeper. And Mark, you're very well educated to talk about these decisions, being a former goalkeeper. I'll get your point on that in a moment, because Hall comes forward, Gusto takes it away from him, Voltemada wins it back. That's good play by the Newcastle attacker. Now Murphy has time. He tried to pick out Livramento to his right hand side. Cucurella gets there, and now Chow wins it off Fernandes, midway inside Chelsea's half, down this right hand side. Livramento heading towards the dead ball line, gets a cross in. Gusto clears. He had to clear because Barnes was lurking behind him. Murphy miscontrols. Palmer and Fernandes swap passes. Caicedo leaves it for Cucurella. This is better from Chelsea. Garnacho now everything to his right, attacking the penalty area. Gordon comes to meet him. Good back pass. Fernandes leaves it for Palmer. Palmer tried to stroke it in. Is blocked away, and Ramsdale clears, and it's still Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, Garnacho down the left-hand side plays a really good ball into the box. He plays it in behind the defenders. As the defenders are running towards Ramsdale, he plays it back towards the penalty spot. Enzo Fernandez has a great opportunity, just put his foot on it. Instead he allows it just to run under his foot because he sees Cole Palmer making a run behind him. But Cole Palmer wants it on his left. And by doing so, he's going to try and open his body. He's trying to get his left foot around it and try and guide it back towards the near post. And he just can't get the power on it. And in the end, it's easy for Newcastle to defend against.
Chelsea, one win in their last 4 in the Premier League. Last time out, they did beat Aston Villa, though, by 4-1 at Villa Park. Fantastic hat-trick from João Pedro. But they're trailing here at home to Newcastle by 1-0. 30 minutes played. Premier League football on 5 Sports Extra. Fernandes. Once again, Caicedo. 10 yards away from the edge of Newcastle's penalty area. Chelsea attacking the goal to our left-hand side, which is the shed end. Shaw. Botman clears eventually with a stooping header. Falls back out to James, the captain of Chelsea. Academy graduate. Now signed a new 6-year deal to 2032. Fernandes forced back by Murphy. Finds Chalobah. Every single outfield player apart from Chelsea's goalkeeper inside Newcastle's half. We're right on the halfway line. So this we are watching to our left hand side. Caicedo back to Chalobah. Once again, Chelsea's supporters will have to be patient because Newcastle are defending deep in their black and white striped shirts, black shorts and socks. Garnacho with one step over, plays the ball in field to Fernandes. On to Caicedo he goes, measured pass out to Gusto. Gusto tries to jink his way past Hall to the dead ball line, tries again, gets inside the penalty area, has to circle it back out to Caicedo. He was encouraged to put a ball into the penalty area. You can hear the groans around Stamford Bridge because he didn't do so.
There, he's in a great position to be able to whip that ball in. Gusto does well, he draws in Barnes and Hall.
Cross does come in, taken by Ramsdale very comfortably on the edge of 6-yard box. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, there's a couple of occasions there Chelsea could get the ball into the box. Like I said, Gusto down the right hand side does really well. So you see Harvey Barnes is through.
Yeah, he's attacking. Gusto with company. Barnes, the only Newcastle player up now, has got some support with Walter Marder, has to run away from the dead ball line. Ramsey is there as well, and they slow the pace of the attack down and they go all the way back to Chow. Newcastle, before we started this evening at 5:30, were 11th in the Premier League. They've only won 2 of their last 8 in the top flight. I did say to Mark they're kind of no man's land in the top flight. They did finish 5th last season, hence playing in the Champions League. They'll be struggling to play in any form of European competition. They need more consistency from their league performances over this remainder of the campaign. Both Chelsea and Newcastle have played 29 games this season. It'll be the final 8 after tonight. Chelsea do win. They have to come from behind. They'll go up to 3rd with Manchester United and Aston Villa playing tomorrow, which of course you can hear on 5 Live, and then Liverpool and Tottenham from 4:30. A host of games which I'll talk you through in a moment on 5 Sports Extra and Sports Extra 2 and 3. But Newcastle building patiently, come forward. Ball's kept in play. Sanchez had to push it out. Once again, Chelsea defence sleep, cut through. Quite surprised the flag didn't go up, but they've won a corner mark.
Yeah, that was a good ball again. Good play from Newcastle. It's been more direct. They've been more one-touch football. They're not holding on the ball too long. When they do start with the ball as they come into Chelsea's box, they're looking to try and put pressure. They're trying to be more direct, a lot quicker pace, and that's catching Chelsea out. Willock does really well down the right-hand side. He just keeps it in. Couldn't quite get his foot around it enough to get into the 6-yard box, but almost. And it had to be for Sanchez to flick it behind for a corner.
Corner comes in, left-footed, high to the far post. Barnes collects it, runs outside the penalty area, but dinks it back in. Sanchez gets there quickly, races off his line, throws it out to Cucurella. He's in a chase with Murphy. That was a very good sliding challenge from the Newcastle captain. Referee's just told him to stop. Don't take the throw-in quickly. Now the 4th official, Thomas Bramall, is having a long conversation with Cucurella. Not quite sure. I think they're checking something, Mark. Checking possible penalty inside the Chelsea area from the corner.
Yeah, Chal went to ground and he was holding his hands up like, how is that not a foul? They've checked it and it's cleared, so it's okay. So referees wave play on. It's a throw into Chelsea. No foul. Reece James, I think it must have been on Chal because he's the one that went to ground.
It's a shame in a way because Cucurella wanted to take that throw in quickly. Chelsea are almost playing on the counter attack there, but that's the life of VAR, I guess, Mark.
It is, and of course you want to check to see if there is a foul. If there is a foul, then of course they should go back and give a penalty, regardless of who it's for. That's what VAR is for.
We're back underway. 10 minutes to play in this first half. 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Premier League football. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. Anthony Gordon with the goal after 18 minutes, assisted by Joe Willock. Almost just walked up to the goal line and just tapped it in. Gordon, after a good initial through ball, picked out Willock, and he picked out Gordon and rolled it past Robert Sanchez. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. And over on 5 Live currently, Arsenal taking on Everton. It's goalless at the Emirates. Conor McNamara and Pat Nevin, your commentary team there. Palmer now deep inside his own Chelsea half. Picks out his captain, James. He missed out 2 Newcastle players. James checks his shoulders, marauding forward, approaching the penalty area. Ambitious effort, blocked away by Botman. Comes back out to James, and now Palmer is there inside the penalty area. Tries to wriggle away from Voltemada and Hall. James still in support. Captain to his right. He picks out Caicedo. Now on to Cucurella. This is where Chelsea need to be quicker, because Newcastle will get men behind the ball, which they've done, and then we've slowed it down all of a sudden.
Yeah, the advantage was lost, wasn't it? Because when Newcastle press Chelsea, when Chelsea are trying to play out at the back, or they win, turnover possession, if Chelsea can beat that first press, there's acres and acres of space to attack Newcastle back line. But they're just getting there, taking too long. Obviously the shot on this occasion was blocked from Reece James. It allows Newcastle to get players behind the ball. And now it's a case of Chelsea trying to almost find a way.
Yeah, and it's Palmer, and he makes Ramsdale make his first save of the afternoon, diving down to his right hand side. He palms it outside the penalty box. Comes to Fernandes. That's better from Chelsea. They need more shots on target. Livramento frustrated, pushes Fernandes over. The floodlights are on. It's Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1, and it's a free kick for Chelsea.
It's not the first time that Chelsea have been in that sort of position. Cole Palmer, this time, the minute he gets the ball and turns, he lets one loose, and that's where it causes the problems. It's a decent save from Ramsdale. It's one I completely expect him to make. Caicedo's ball outside the foot to Cole Palmer. There's a little bit of space, not a lot. He just takes a quick turn on his touch and then whips it and tries to find it in that near post area. Ramsdale was alert, and there's a full save.
Yeah, we're just having a break in play, so a couple of the players, one either side of Chelsea and Newcastle, opening their fasts. It's Wesley Fofana and Malik Chow. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1 then, Mark. We've got about 8 minutes to play in the first half. What are your thoughts so far?
Well, look, I think for Newcastle, the game plans worked really well. I think the way they were set up, they knew they were going to have periods of pressure, but they had the out. They've got the pace. They're not afraid to go long. They're not afraid to be more direct, and they actually worked really well in their favour. That's where the goal came from, being really direct and not being afraid to look for that first pass and be, almost straight over the top. For Chelsea, at times, they beat the first press, and then the decision-making in the final third has let them down a little bit. There are good signs. They're finding themselves in good positions, but they've just got to fine-tune that last decision to give themselves better opportunities to get strikes away on goal.
Yeah, we'll be about to restart play any moment. It'll be a free kick for Chelsea, attacking from right to left. If you know Stamford Bridge, in this first 45 minutes on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, trailing by a goal to nil. Anthony Gordon's goal after 18 minutes. They're attacking the shed end, and it's just left of centre, say 10 yards outside the penalty area. It's Chelsea, it's Reece James and Mark Cucurella who'll decide between them who'll take this free kick. If we missed the early Premier League fixtures, which kicked off at 3 o'clock, finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0. Brighton beating Sunderland at the Stadium of Light by a goal to nil. Currently Arsenal 0, Everton 0. And 8 o'clock tonight in East London, West Ham, Manchester City. Reports of that into 5 Live Rugby, live from Paris, the Six Nations decider between France and England. If France win, they'll win the title. If England win, Ireland will lift the Six Nations crown. They've already won the Triple Crown, beating Scotland earlier by 43 points to 21. Wales and Italy in action. James with the free kick. Skims the side netting, really, not really troubling Ramsdale. Did score from a free kick against Newcastle at St James Park in the corresponding fixture in the Premier League at the end of December. That was a lovely free kick that night, but off target today.
Yeah, this one was a little bit disappointing, wasn't it? Expected so much more. I think on occasions from that area you're kind of feeling like go for that far post area, because when you go for that far post area you just open up for potentially a parry back into the danger area. That near post area, there's only really one way for it to go, and in the end when you're off target it just obviously completely fizzles out.
Yeah, so 5 minutes plus a few to be added on at the end of this first half. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1, and the visitors have possession inside their own half with Malik Chow. Garnacho comes to meet him, closes that option, so he plays it short and square to his right onto Hall, who also started his career here at Chelsea. He was loaned out initially to Newcastle with an option to buy. They picked up the option for £28 million, and the 21-year-old is making that left back position his own. Interesting, isn't it, Mark, when you think the two fullbacks for Newcastle today both started at Chelsea, Livramento and Hall. Gusto now attacking Hall, rolls it back to James. He rolls it forward using his studs. His white socks slightly rolled down below his calves, and Fofana, his socks are rolled all the way down to his ankles. Gusto with the cross from the right hand side. This is deep but controlled and taken comfortably by Ramsdale, high above his head. Some confident goalkeeping by the 6'3" Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. That's his area, that's his ball. There's a nice air on it, so you can come out and claim it unchallenged as well. So nice confident goalkeeping.
Still goalless in North London between Arsenal and Everton. We're in the southwest of the capital. A few of the supporters now are heading into the gangways and the concourses to pick up their half-time cuppa, maybe their favourite pie, as Caicedo just flicks the ball back to Sanchez in all orange with his black gloves on. Chosen to be in between the sticks by Liam Rossini, given away by Fernandez, and Ramsey tried to force it through to Gordon, ricocheted a few times, foul to Fofana. He's just running away from the edge of his penalty area. Nicely blocked off between Gordon and Barnes. There was no outlet. Goes back to Sanchez. Gusto wants it. Sanchez plays it long. Halls gets himself into position, heads it infield. Chow clears with his orange boots into the chest of Chalobah. Plays it short and square to Cucurella. Cucurella sweeps it forward to Pedro. Heavy first touch. And that's eventually what happened. The ball ran away from him on the second touch. Out of play for a throw into Newcastle right below us here. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. Mark Schwarzer is alongside me.
Yeah, it just looks a little bit leggy, Joel Pedro. Certainly on that occasion. Bad touch. Gives it away. Goes straight out for a throw in. Just before Fofana has the ball, and there's the cheers or the jeers in the crowd, bit of frustration because Malo Gusto's making a run down the right hand side. Fofana turns, looks like he's going to play it, and I just think he didn't see him.
Here comes Barnes on the counter-attack on the left-hand side. It was tidied up by Fofana. He tried to pick out Gordon first time. Cucurella now goes back to Chalobah. Fofana just checks his shoulders. We've got 2 minutes of the normal 45 minutes to play in this first half. Chelsea trailing at home to an Anthony Gordon goal to nil. The goal coming after 18 minutes. We've got more Premier League football coming up tomorrow on 5 Live. Manchester United and Aston Villa from 2 o'clock. Then 4:30 Liverpool hosting Tottenham. Over on Sports Extra you can listen to Nottingham Forest and Fulham. Sports Extra 2 will be Crystal Palace and Leeds. Mark Schwarzer will be in the commentary box once again. Busy weekend for Mark. And then Sports Extra 3, the Women's League Cup final. Chelsea taking on Manchester United. That's a repeat of the FA Cup final from last season. So 5 commentaries across the 5 live sports network tomorrow. Cross from the right hand side, punched away by Ramsdale, comes out to James. Gordon gets there, he's fouled. Good defended by Anthony Gordon. Not only does he do the work up the pitch and scores goals, but he stopped Reece James there having an attempt on goal. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, he did. I mean, firstly it starts from Aaron Ramsdale coming out, and he gets enough on the ball. And when I say enough, it goes to the edge of the box, and obviously that is danger. And if your teammates don't react, you could find yourself a little bit of egg on your face, because you kind of come out, haven't really dealt with it, but you've done well initially because it's a dangerous ball into that sort of 6-yard box or edge of the 6-yard box. But Anthony Gordon's reaction is really good, really good. He doesn't really challenge for the ball, but he puts himself in a position where the only way Reece James is going to get it is if he goes almost not through him, but like nudges him, and it's a clear foul. So well done, Anthony Gordon.
4 minutes of stoppage time added on at the end of this first half as the ball just sails out of play. It's a throw-in for Chelsea midway inside their own half, over on that far right-hand side, which is their right-hand side in this first half. Gusto wins it back after initially giving it away from the throw-in. Pedro goes down on his stomach, but the ball had run out of play, so it's a throw-in to his frustration for Newcastle. They'll take their time. They've done a good job so far. They've only ever won at Stamford Bridge in all the years they've been coming here. 89 visits before this evening. They only ever have come out on top 12 times in all competitions. One victory in the Premier League coming in May 2012, and they're winning this evening as we head into half time. So Eddie Howe, he'll be really pleased, Mark Schwarzer, because he made 6 changes to his side as well from the first leg of their Champions League tie against Barcelona.
Well, they look like they've got more energy, so those 6 changes have certainly made a difference. It's got pace, it's got energy, got a tactic at the moment that's working pretty well for them.
Compared to Chelsea, they made 2. Gusto had to be careful, cushioned his header back to Robert Sanchez because Barnes was lurking. It was a long sweep upfield by Ramsdale. If you saw the highlights of Real Madrid-Manchester City when Courtois played it to Valverde, that was similar, but on the other side, on the right full-back area, this time good defending by Gusto. He headed it back to his goalkeeper. Caicedo now flicks it infield to Fofana. Orange boots on, white socks rolled down to his ankles. He telegraphed his pass, picked up by Ramsey. He picks out Barnes inside the penalty area. Now back to Ramsey. This is a chance, takes a deflection. Sanchez does well, pushes it away from danger. Out to Murphy. Murphy with a real wallop of a cross. Almost wanted to shoot himself. It goes into the lower tier of the Matthew Harding stand, and Chelsea get away with one there. They trail by a 1-0, and they have a goal kick.
Yeah, in the end, Sanchez does pretty well because I think it took a pretty big deflection. He's almost going the other way. He reacts well and parries the ball out into sort of a relatively safe area. And in the end, when it falls to, I think was it Murphy who gets the ball, and as he looks, you don't know whether he's going for a shot or whether he wants to smash across the face of the goal. And in the end, it just balloons with tremendous pace over the goal and out for a goal kick. So a bit of a wasted opportunity in the end for Newcastle.
Into the 49th minute then, which is the 4th minute of time added on at the end of this first half by the referee Paul Tierney. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. Anthony Gordon with the sole goal so far in this game. Chalobah on to Garnacho. Garnacho, one of the 2 changes that Liam Rosenior made to his team. Robert Sanchez was the other one. Jorgensen has a slight groin issue, hence the replacement. The replacement goalkeeper, by the way, is Teddy Sharman-Lowe, 22 years of age, yet to make his Chelsea debut. Palmer, this is what's frustrating the home support. It's slow, it's ponderous from Chelsea. Once again, Newcastle behind the ball as the referee blows up for half-time, met by a few boos around Stamford Bridge. Can't really exaggerate it all the time these days. I think most home supporters, Mark, when their team's trailing at the break, it's just something programmed into them now. They just start booing. But at half-time, Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1.
Yeah, but I understand it, because I think they've been Chelsea. They found themselves in good positions on numerous occasions, just been too slow in possession of the ball. Transitions been at times okay. They've found gaps. We saw Cole Palmer a couple of times in really good areas. Reece James, half shots, blocks. Okay, that can happen. But other occasions, they just get in a good position and then stop, go sideways, go backwards, come back around again, allow Newcastle to go back into position. Good shape. Newcastle's worked really hard. And then it generally, more often than not, fizzles out. And there's opportunities to get the ball in the box. They don't. They start again. And that's where the frustration comes from. And I can completely understand it.
Half-time then here at Stamford Bridge. We'll hear more from Mark in the second half. But half-time here at Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. Let's join 5 Live Sport, and we'll be back for second half in about 15 minutes' time.
Time whistle here. So Everton have come really close. They've hit the woodwork. Another shot cleared by a defender in front of the goalkeeper. Arsenal, who've had a lot of shots and a lot of pressure, but they've really only troubled Pickford once, and 0-0 it is at half-time. Pat Nevin.
There's no doubt who's the happier manager walking in just now. It's David Moyes, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, Arsenal aren't playing badly, but the freedom going forward from those Everton players is very noticeably different and better than the Arsenal players going forward. You need the shackles off. I think he'll give it another 10-15 minutes, and then Mikel Arteta has to make changes to lift it a little bit.
That's it. The longer this stays 0-0, the pressure will only increase on Arsenal. Yes, Everton have a lot to play for. They started the day 8th in the table. 8th could be good enough for a qualification spot for Europe next season. But there's no doubt the pressure today is on Arsenal, and they have not been able to make the breakthrough yet. At half-time of the Emirates on 5 Live, it's Arsenal 0, Everton 0.
There is a goal in the 5:30s, though. It came at Stamford Bridge. Half-time there, John Southall.
And it's gone to Newcastle. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Boos at half-time from the home fans. And you have to say, Newcastle have been fairly comfortable in this first half. Chelsea had 2 chances before the goal. Fofana headed over and Cole Palmer shot wide. The goal itself far too easy. Livramento's through ball opened up the Chelsea defence, picked out Willock. He fed Anthony Gordon, and he couldn't miss from 4 yards out. 16th of the season, 5th in the league. After that, Chelsea laboured, created very little. And Malik Chow, he headed over for Newcastle, and Ramsey late on in the half, his shot deflected and saved by Sanchez. And Mark, did you see the pre-match Chelsea huddle before kickoff? I mean, they always do it in the centre circle, and somehow Paul Tierney, the referee, ended up in the middle of it and just refused to move. So I'm sure you'll see on social media, and he just stood there in the middle. I mean,
good for him, though. Good for him.
Is it good? I don't know.
Well, yeah, but the whole argument is where they do that huddle, isn't it?
Yeah, well, half of it's in the opposition half as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, well, he joins Donald Trump, doesn't he, by being somewhere where he shouldn't be in a Chelsea team.
Exactly. Yes, from the World Club final celebrations. Thank you very much, John. Elsewhere in the Premier League earlier, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0. And Brighton won 1-0 at Sunderland. Celtic beat Motherwell 3-1 in the Scottish Premiership title race. Motherwell down to 10 in that as well. So the gap between the two, Celtic and Hearts, now down to 2 points. Hearts have a game in hand, and that comes at Kilmarnock tonight. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff. In the Championship, surprise results everywhere, with Coventry, the leaders, beaten. Middlesbrough in second, being held at home. Millwall in third at the start of the day, being beaten. And Hull in fifth, losing as well at West Brom. So the only winners were Ipswich, and in fact their win at Sheffield Wednesday takes them from 4th to 3rd this evening. In League One, the top two both won. Lincoln beating Stockport, which knocked Stockport out of the playoff places, and Cardiff winning at Exeter. And in League Two, the top two both won. Bromley and MK Dons. In fact, the top three all won as well, with Cambridge thrashing Gillingham by 5-0. In the Six Nations, Ireland beat Scotland, so we'll have reaction to that during half-time. The final score there was 43 points to 21, and Italy are trying to mount a comeback in Cardiff against Wales. And I'm guessing the home fans will have breathed a sigh of relief just a few moments ago, Molly.
Absolutely, they will have. Italy really are doing all they can to get back into this. They thought they had a third try just moments ago. Monty Ione sailed over in the corner, but after a lengthy deliberation from the TMO, he ruled it no try. He says Ione's knee was over the touchline before he grounded it. So a sigh of relief indeed, but Italy on the attack as we speak. Wales 31, Italy 12, and 73 minutes on the clock.
So reaction from Dublin to come. We'll head to Paris as well ahead of France-England, which gets underway at 8:10, and we'll hear from Martin O'Neill after Alison Hughes in the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. President Trump is asking countries, including the UK and China, to join the United States in sending warships to the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has largely been blocking the waterway since the US and Israel began their attacks on the country. Around a fifth of the world's oil is shipped through the strait. Donald Trump says the US will continue to bomb the hell out of the Iranian shoreline in the meantime. The US Embassy in Baghdad has told American citizens to leave Iraq immediately after drones struck the building last night. The embassy says militia groups aligned with Iran are encouraging and carrying out attacks on US targets throughout the country. The Chancellor Rachel Reeves says she'll offer support to households struggling with higher heating oil costs. Prices have gone up a lot because of the war in the Middle East. And police in Coventry are asking anyone with information to come forward after the body of a man was found in a wheelie bin which was left in Cashes Park. Officers believe the man, thought to be in his 40s, was put there after being hit by a car yesterday afternoon.
On BBC iPlayer.
Get back! Everyone get back!
Suspect on the move. Lower ground level.
Everything from heart pounders.
He is the man behind this.
Beautiful strike. What a ball! It's 2-0!
To heart warmers.
Welcome. I'm so proud of you. Well done.
Yay!
Mum is surprising me, and it's quite inspiring.
I feel alive. This is amazing.
From high stakes action to feel good favourites. Wherever you stream, BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
So much live sport going on at the moment. Once Chelsea-Newcastle finishes at the Bridge on Sports Extra, you'll be able to listen to the third round from the Players' Championship at Sawgrass. It will start on Sports Extra 2 in the next few minutes. Ian Carter.
Yes, and Ludwig Åberg, the Swedish European Ryder Cup player, leading the way 12 under par, 2 ahead of Xander Schauffele. Really good looking leaderboard here. It doesn't include Rory McIlroy round in the 71 today, or the world number 1 Scotty Scheffler, who looked more like his usual self in his 67. Bob McIntyre's just finished with a 65. He's muscling in on the leaderboard, having got up to 7 under par and a share of 5th place. But an unsettling background to this third round day, Mark, because there was a fatal shooting just outside the course last night. There was a manhunt for the suspect. Someone has now been arrested, and the knock-on effect of that was not massive, but it did delay spectators getting in earlier this morning. So a slightly unsettled background ahead of what should be an enthralling third round here.
OK, Ian, thank you very much. So Sports Extra from 7:30 to listen to the golf. Let's go back to events in Dublin. Ireland 43, Scotland 21. So Scotland miss out on any chance of the Six Nations title and on the Triple Crown. Here's their head coach, Gregor Townsend.
We did a very good first half and we showed much more of who we are in that second half. I thought the physicality, how to take on a defence, and also how we were defending was excellent. The momentum was going in our favour. We just gave Ireland a couple of possessions in our half, in that second half, and they did very well. They attacked really well, so all credit to them. But for a big long period in the second half, we felt we were in control of our own destiny, but we just got to be more accurate.
Irish captain Caelan Doris was also awarded Player of the Match, so let's hear from him.
Pretty hectic. Felt like a game of chess at some stages, back and forward. We scored, they scored. I thought we took our chances very well. The atmosphere here was unbelievable. We could feel you guys, so thanks a million.
The fact that you won when they threw everything at you and you still won must be hugely pleasing.
Yeah, we saw what they were capable of last week, so we had to be high alert. always switched on. We knew what their attack is capable of. Felt our defence stood up pretty well today and got quite a few turnovers. I thought special mention to Blackburn, thought he was unbelievable. I thought this probably should be around his neck.
How pleasing is it to win the Triple Crown when you consider where this team is at? How pleasing is it to be Triple Crown champions?
Yeah, very pleasing. I think it's the start of a journey in a way. It's an important part along the way. Still plenty more building to do and chasing down the potential that we have, but we definitely saw some of what we're capable of in this tournament.
The Triple Crown is good, the championship will be better. Are you off now to cheer on England?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a rare day that we're cheering them on. But we'll see what happens. We've done our job, so we can sit back and enjoy the rest of the day.
It is a rare event for Ireland as they wish England well in Paris. Matt Dawson there, ready for kick-off in just over 90 minutes' time. What chance England then?
What chance indeed. I have to say it's a relatively slim one given the sort of evidence over the last month or so for England. But this championship has created some incredible stories, isn't it, so far? And there's plenty on the line, individually, collectively, for both sides. I may be clutching at straws a little bit here, chappers, but a yellow card here or there, the bounce of a ball, a few decisions go your way, and England could well be in the game. We can't lose sight of the fact that England are still packed full of the players that we were praising and enjoying watching play and dominate the rugby calendar last year. So if they do click, if they have a different mindset in the way that they play, then they are going to pose a threat to France and stress them. So there is a chance, but the form, of course, are going to say that France will be relatively comfortable.
What is that mindset then? Is it the mindset that the Scots had last week?
Yeah, that's a fantastic example, chappers. I think, in simple terms, you have to expect France to score 30 points tonight, the way they play. You have to. So you've got to score 31. You've got to aim to score 40. You've got a little bit like Scotland were last week, where they were scoring and getting into the 20-point zone, and it wasn't like, hold on a minute, we could win this game. They didn't have that mindset. It was, let's do it again. Let's score another try. Let's get more points on the board, and let's not worry about the result until the final whistle goes. And I think England, if they are going to score more than 30 points tonight, they cannot play like they've played in the last three games with that style, the box kicking, very defensive, trying to live off scraps. It's just not going to work tonight. Statistically, Steve Borthwick may well try and defend that, but unfortunately, the sport is not all statistics, and the guys are going to have to read it on the day. I think the ball just is going to need to be. I don't expect it to be sort of willy-nilly throwing it everywhere, but maybe slightly more risk taken.
And if they don't win, and Italy have had 2 tries chalked off in the last 10 minutes in Cardiff, which would have made it a humdinger of the last 90 seconds, which is all that's left there, with Wales leading 31-12. If they had those tries given and converted them, there'd be a lot of nerves in the Welsh capital at the moment. But let's say England don't win tonight, and then they finish on the same number of wins as a Welsh side and a Welsh country that are meant to be in crisis. That doesn't help their cause, does it? That I know you can only look at yourselves, but if you come.
So welcome back then to Stamford Bridge for the second half of this Premier League fixture between Chelsea and Newcastle United. At half-time, Newcastle leading by 1-0. Anthony Gordon with the goal after 18 minutes. We are going to see one change because the Chelsea players are already out on the pitch. We're waiting for Newcastle United to join them. It's Liam Delap who's coming on, and looks like it's João Pedro who's going to make way. Liam Delap just on the halfway line in between the two technical areas. The technical areas are very small here at Stamford Bridge. Mark Schwarzer, who's alongside me for commentary for 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, we're right at the back of the East Stand. João Pedro, actually, my fault. He looks like he's in that pre-match, pre-second half kick-off hurdle. They do it both pre-match and ahead of the second half, and the Chelsea players are just waiting for Liam Delap to join them. The Newcastle United players now emerge from the tunnel, and the change is about to be made. It's Malo Gusto who's coming off, so Reece James will slot into the right fullback role, and João Pedro might drop into the midfield position. Fernandes will go back with Caicedo. I'll get Mark Schwartz's thoughts on that in a moment once the second half is off and underway. But Delap on then for Gusto. That's the only change made by either manager. We're about to get underway for this second half here at Stamford Bridge. Paul Tierney, the referee, blows his whistle. So Chelsea, if you know Stamford Bridge, attacking from left to right in this second half, away from the Shed Hen, trailing at home to Newcastle by 1-0. Newcastle, their last victory coming here at Stamford Bridge was in May 2012 when they won by 2-0. Papa Cisse that day with some tremendous goal scoring, putting Newcastle ahead and claiming all 3 points. Mark Schwarzer.
It's like you said, there'll be some shuffling. Reece James going to right fullback, Enzo Fernandez dropping back from that sort of number 10 advanced midfield role into midfield next to Caicedo, and you can see that Liam Delap and I think João Pedro, they'll just sort of move around and swap each other's places. More likely Delap will be the one that's trying to lead the line a little bit. Pedro maybe a little bit behind him, but there'll still be quite a lot of interchanging.
Yeah, Delap with their one Premier League goal this season for Chelsea. That was away against Fulham. So Chelsea line up with Sanchez in goals. It's James, Fofana, Chalobah and Cucurella in midfield. You've got Caicedo and Fernandes, and then you've got Palmer, Pedro and Garnacho, with Delap, we've just mentioned him with his first touch of the ball. That's Chelsea's 11. A run through Newcastle's team. No changes made by Eddie Howe at half time. See Eddie Howe just in his tracksuit, Newcastle United colours of black and white striped shirt and black tracksuit pants, talking to his assistant Jason Tyndall as Hall throws it back to Botman. So Ramsdale is in goals for Newcastle. You've got Livramento, Chow, Botman and Hall making up the back four, with Willock, Ramsey, Voltemada, and then you've got Murphy the captain and Barnes playing either side of the goal scorer Anthony Gordon. So we're well underway in this second 45 minutes. 2 minutes played. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Over on 5 Live you can listen to Arsenal 0, Everton 0, and later on, after that game finishes, we'll be heading to Paris for the Six Nations decider between France and England, and you'll hear reports of West Ham versus Manchester City into the Six Nations game. If France win, they'll be the champions. If they lose, if England do Ireland a favour and claim a famous win in Paris on Saturday evening, it will be Ireland who will be crowned champions. They're already triple crown champions, beating Scotland earlier on 43-21. Palmer gets a ball off James, approaches the penalty area. It's taken away from him by a combination of Ramsey. Delap wins it back. Delap with an effort, turns, first time shot. Ramsdale pushes it out into Newcastle's left full-back area. Decent stop from the Newcastle goalkeeper. Pedro now to James. Right below us here on this near right-hand side, Fernandes with a looping cross. It goes behind Cucurella, comes out to Caicedo and out to Garnacho. He's got a bandage over his left wrist. And Garnacho receives it again. Cucurella's inside the penalty area. Delap was his target. Chow heads it away. Good start to the second half from Chelsea. They need to up the tempo. They're trailing. Fernandes into Cucurella. Headed away by Chow. It's a corner for Chelsea.
Yeah, better play from Chelsea. A lot more urgency in this sort of phase, and that's what's made the difference. Is consistent pressure, looking to get the ball down. Okay, whip the next one in. Get runners into the box. This occasion it was Cucurella making that run. Chow just does enough to flick it on. Earlier on it was Delap who had that shot on the spin. It was a decent shot, decent attempt. One again, pretty much straight down the throat of Aaron Ramsdale, who in the end just elects to parry it away rather than catch it.
Yeah, they do prefer that these days, Mark. James with the corner, floated into the near post. Chow leaps the highest, heads it away from the edge of his own 6-yard box. Here comes Gordon. Murphy's to his right. This is on the counter-attack. His captain receives it. He's got options to his left. Picks out Gordon. That was slightly wide. Forced outside the penalty area. Good thrusting run by Murphy and Gordon. That final pass from the captain today, Murphy, just pushed Gordon outside the penalty area. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, it was a disappointing little bit of phase there. Newcastle had a great opportunity. It was 3-on-3. Just the runs off the ball, Gordon, it's just too straight. Murphy in his defence didn't really have a lot of options. When he looked to then play Gordon in, it was a little bit behind him, a little bit to the side.
It's Murphy with an attempt. It was blocked by Fofana. Sanchez scampers. The assistant referee was behind play, couldn't really see it. It's been awarded as a corner.
Yeah, no, it's given us a throw.
It was a throw-in.
It was a clear corner.
It was, wasn't it? The assistant
it was a long way.
On the far side was behind play there, Mark.
He couldn't see it. The referee was in the best position to see it. I mean, we are in an elevated position. The referee's a lot closer than we are, but we can clearly see the ball was miles over the goal line and should have been a corner to Newcastle.
But it's a throw-in front of their supporters to our left in the lower and upper tier of the shed end as it curves around into the main stand. Hall takes the throw-in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Is headed away by Fofana. Bounces twice. Back to Hall it comes. He's in field. Now to Livramento with his lime green football boots on. Switches play from left to right. Cucurella leaps up the highest. Heads it away. Gets it back from Fernandes. And now gathers some pace over the halfway line. Wants to come in field. Runs through the centre circle. Picks out James. He plays it on to Palmer first time. Palmer hugging this right touchline, will come in field to Caicedo. This is where Chelsea need to be better in this second 45 minutes. Pedro, nice back heel to Cucurella just outside the penalty area. Pedro tries to create some space for himself, takes a shot left-footed. It took a deflection off Chow, spins up, and Ramsdale collects 5 yards away from the dead ball line. 0-1 Chelsea trailing at home to Newcastle United.
Yeah, Chelsea again trying to go through the middle, really heavily congested. João Pedro tries a little flick as the ball's drilled into him, almost comes off. Cucurella wasn't ready for it. The ball back to him gets a little bit short. Newcastle are able to defend against it. In the end, there's an attempt on goal, but it's blocked, and Ramsdale's pretty comfortably comes over and collects the ball, and then Newcastle can deal with the pressure and move on. So Chelsea, just when they slow the play down too much, it's too easy for Newcastle to defend against.
James on to Delap. He's claiming he was pushed, and Liam Rosenior runs straight to the fourth official. Below us here we can see it clearly. Wasn't pleased with that decision. Chelsea still trailing then at home to Newcastle by a goal to nil as Fofana goes down. They win a free kick. Got more Premier League commentaries coming up tomorrow on 5 Live. Manchester United, Aston Villa and Liverpool and Tottenham. Over on Sports Extra you can listen to Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. Sports Extra 2, Crystal Palace hosting Leeds United. And on Sports Extra 3 you've got the Women's League Cup final live from Ashton Gate in Bristol. Chelsea taking on Manchester United in a repeat of last year's Women's FA Cup final. Commentaries continuing throughout the week in the Champions League on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the Europa League on Thursday. Garnacho back to Caicedo, midway inside Newcastle's half. Fernandes, central area of the pitch. Caicedo, short and square to his left. Now finds the ball, rolls it backwards using his studs. Once again, every single Newcastle player behind the ball. This is where Chelsea faltered in the first half, and they've fallen into that trap once again. They need to be quick and sharper. and be a bit more creative and take a chance. It falls to Cucurella. Cucurella now out to Garnacho, just outside the penalty area. Still outside the penalty area. Right footed effort, blocked by Botman. Cucurella gets himself in a bit of a pickle, falls to the ground. It's cleared away by Newcastle.
Yeah, it was a half a chance there for Cucurella to get at least a decent cross into the box. The deflection just pops up to the left-hand side, and Cucurella tries to hit it first time and just completely duffs the contact. And Newcastle survive again, but again Chelsea just a little bit too slow going through the middle. That time they got a little bit fortunate. However, for Newcastle, I'll be delighted. Keep coming through the middle. We've got overload of players. It's pretty simple to deal with. Don't dive in. Don't sell yourself. You've got to start asking more questions. At a period of time just in the second half where they were quick. Ball down, whip the next cross in, get runners in the box. That caused Newcastle all sorts of problems. Now they've reverted back to the same kind of style and certain play that they did in the first half.
And at the moment, they find themselves heading for a fourth home defeat of the season in the Premier League. And we've got Paris Saint-Germain here in the Champions League on Tuesday night, trailing in the first leg by 5-2. They wanted some momentum going into that game, having to defend at the moment, throwing deep inside Chelsea's left full-back area. Newcastle at the moment, they'll be really chuffed as they head to Barcelona on Wednesday. 1-1 in the first leg, 90-minute plus penalty denying them an advantage from that first leg at St James's Park. They're leading here by 1-0. We're into the second half, 10 minutes played on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Premier League football as the ball bounces around on the edge of Chelsea's penalty area. Acrobatic overhead clearance by Fofana. This time he has to use his neck muscles to head it away, only as far as Willock. Willock now to Livramento. Back it goes to Murphy. Murphy quickly closed down by Caicedo. Plays the ball down the right hand side, and Livramento can't really get his balance and his feet in correct position as the ball runs out of play for a throw-in for Cucurella. Chelsea will take their time. Want to pick out the right player as they try to build up once again from the back. Gordon quickly closing down. It's a heavy pass. Fofana wasn't really watching. Gordon goes down. Seems to be okay. Needs to get up. I'm sure he'll get up pretty quickly there. Delap using his body to muscle off Chow, and then Hall and Palmer tries to circle around, and Gordon does get up eventually. Goes down really dramatically there, Mark. Voltamada picks up. Caicedo wins. Caicedo again inside the centre circle. Plays allowed to continue. It's quite ferocious at times now. Garnacho trying to take on Livramento. Gets the better of him. Heads towards the dead ball line. His cross is stopped. It's a corner for Chelsea.
Yeah, better play. This time Garnacho just takes the ball with pace, takes on the defender, tries to get outside of him, trying to create something, make something happen, a bit more urgency. That's something that Chelsea again haven't done a lot of in this second half.
Still 0-0 in North London between Arsenal and Everton. That's over on 5 Live. Referee's having a word with Cucurella, and he's called Reece James over as well. Delayed the Chelsea captain from taking the corner. It's gone back now. Jacob Murphy as well was there, who's the Newcastle captain, involved in that conversation. 13 minutes played of the second half. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Corner about to be taken in front of the Matthew Harding stand. Ball placed very carefully in the quadrant. 2-yard run up by James. Floats it in to a posse of players. It's cleared away by Murphy. Out to play it goes for a throw-in for Chelsea.
Yeah, a lot of plays in that near post area. That's where the ball ends up, and they're able to just deal with it. And again, Newcastle, of course, they get a little bit fortunate. It falls in their favour, and then it's a clearance out for a throw-in. But you just feel that there needs to be a spark from someone in this Chelsea side to actually get them going. A little bit of individual brilliance, something created from nothing, because at the moment the urgency just isn't enough.
find ourselves in that familiar position. Chelsea in a central area of the pitch, just outside Newcastle's penalty area. James had it for a moment, played it back to Fernandes, now gets it back. He needs to attack the dead ball line. Tries a very elaborate cross which would have had to beat 3 Newcastle players. The third one in that line, Voltemade, clears up to the halfway line. Chelsea come back again. Once again, every single Newcastle player behind the ball, falling back into that shape from the first half. Out it goes to the left-hand side in front of the West Stand. Garnacho infield to Caicedo, wants it back. Cucurella heads it back to Pedro. This is the chance, takes a deflection. That was a chance, takes a deflection, trickles out to play for a corner. He had some time and space in the penalty area, Mark. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, I think it was Malik Chal. He's the one that made the big block, throws himself at the shot. A little bit last-ditch defending. I mean, he still had a bit to do. Still a few players to beat before it ends up in the back of the net, but really good defending.
James takes the corner from both sides. Just once again, 2-yard run up. Flicks the ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Botman. Plenty of power on that header. Now Caicedo tries to release Cucurella, controls it on his chest. Cucurella inside the penalty area, left-footed cross. Fofana gets his overhead kick all wrong. That was his feet were high. Referee blew his whistle straight away. That's Lewis Hall who's down, and it will be a free kick for Newcastle inside their own penalty area.
I mean, you've got to say Newcastle have defended well. They've been organised, they've kept their shape, they've worked hard, and you know they've controlled it to a large degree. Chelsea have been frustrated, just run out of ideas, haven't really caused enough problems there. They've had a couple of decent shots on goal. Ramsdale pretty comfortable in making those saves.
So Moises Caicedo makes way, and it's Romeo Lavia who's coming on to replace him. The Belgium has been beset by injuries. Now he's finding his way back to full fitness. Did start against Wrexham in the FA Cup, and they're going to be really careful with him, the amount of minutes and times he plays. Just control the ball on his chest, but he comes on in the second change that Liam Rossinho has made to his lineup in this second half. Brought Delap on at half time, replacing him. Gusto came off, and now Moises Caicedo has made way for Lavia. So it's like for like. Lavia's in that position. Immense talent, but needs to get himself properly fit and spend time on the pitch as Palmer strokes the ball out to the left-hand side to Garnacho. They need some inspiration, Chelsea. A couple of step-overs from the Argentinian. Doesn't go anywhere. And now Fernandes has it. Once again, Newcastle really deep and behind the ball. James just tickles the ball forward to Palmer. Tries to get away from Voltemade. Is that a penalty? Referee says, doesn't point there. I think he points to a goal kick, but Palmer's still down. He beat Voltemade on the inside mark, head towards the dead ball line, found himself some space. Voltemade might have had a little nibble on him. This will be checked, there's no doubt. Palmer's still down, but at the moment it's a goal kick.
I just wonder if it's Cole Palmer's leg against Voltemade or Voltemade taking him. I mean, it's hard to see from where we are. We haven't seen on the replay. I feel like it's more Cole Palmer stretching his leg out into Voltemade. I'm not sure. Obviously we'll find out very shortly. Haven't seen the replay. It doesn't look like it's anything.
No, it looks like we're going to have a restart as a goal kick, Mark.
Yeah, I think Voltemade stops, and I think when he stops, that's when then Cole Palmer kind of, I don't know, he steps across or throws his leg out, and that's where the contact is. Still haven't seen the replay, but that was my initial thoughts, and obviously they don't deem it to be a penalty, so we play on.
63 played. 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Premier League football on your dial via BBC Sounds as well. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Newcastle are about to make their first change of the evening. First couple actually. Anthony Elanga and Joe Linton. Eddie Howe bring two players who started against Barcelona and who look to start again on Wednesday. That'll be live commentary. We'll be with Newcastle on their trip to the Nou Camp on Wednesday, followed by Liverpool versus Galatasaray. Keep tabs with also what's happening at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Champions League on Tuesday. Botman with the cross. But before that, on Tuesday, it will be Manchester City, Real Madrid. Those games are on a Wednesday, I should mention. Barcelona, Newcastle, 5:45 kickoff. And then Liverpool, Galatasaray and Tottenham Atletico Madrid, 8 o'clock. Voltemada tries to pick out Gordon, swept away by Cucurella, controlled by Willock and Ramsey. Hall loses out to Palmer. Palmer gets away from Ramsey. Palmer now, Pedro to his left, so is Garnacho, so is Fernandes, and Delap picks out Fernandes. Fernandes leaves it for Garnacho on the edge of the penalty area. Garnacho wants it on his right foot, finds Palmer instead. Palmer gets away from Willock. Palmer, lovely pass to Garnacho. Garnacho needs to get a shot off. James, cross deep to Cucurella. Cucurella now to Fernandes, just outside the penalty area. You feel like this attack, Mark, has lost its momentum. Had a few moments of threatening play. James tries to take on Ramsey, and Ramsey clears over the halfway line. And Fofana deals with that throw-in. They had their moments once again, Mark, there, but still Chelsea trail by a goal to nil.
Yeah, they did, and there was a couple of decent balls in the box, just little passes in, little off the shoulder, around the corner, getting in good positions. But Newcastle really well organised, got across, good positional play, made Chelsea turn around and start again.
Yeah, Fernandes with a teasing ball into the penalty area. Botman with a headed clearance. Comes out to Barnes, he heads it forward 5 yards, chases after his own header, plays it infield to Gordon. Joe Linton, and he's on his own this time. He was with Elanga, but Elanga seems to have disappeared. They're still waiting to come on. Here comes Joe Linton now as the ball is out of play. Gives chance for Eddie Howe to make a change, and that change is Nick Voltemada, who is being replaced. Just seeing some of the reaction on the BBC Sport app, Mark, about the penalty decision. Says, how on earth is that not a penalty on Palmer? Voltemada goes for the ball and gets the player.
There you go. We still haven't seen a replay, so only going on what we saw as it was happening. We're high up in the gods, and it just looks like from here he doesn't actually even engage with him, but you know, they've probably seen it on multiple occasions.
Well, there's another contribution from our listeners on the app. Says Cole Palmer just turned into Tom Daly for a few seconds. So, you know, you've got difference of opinions. But anyway, we're back here and it's Pedro. Pedro with a left-footed effort. Blocked by Chow. Good defence. Once again, good defensive action. Once again from Newcastle's back four. They've defended to a man really well. And we've seen that from our position, as Mark has mentioned, at the back of the main stand. It's a bird's eye view of Stamford Bridge, and when Chelsea come forward, Newcastle quickly get into shape where every single player is behind the ball and they're all within 20 yards of each other, making it very difficult for Chelsea to break them down. Now they come forward. Livramento, deep cross, tries to pick out Barnes. It bounces twice through the penalty area and out of play for a throw-in for Chelsea in their right full-back area.
Just completely contrasting styles of attack, isn't it, really? I mean, in terms of personnel, it's similar, pace, trickery, got the ability, but Newcastle just a lot more direct, a lot more meaningful runs, higher energy, higher intensity, looking to get balls in the box earlier. This time Livramento slightly overhits it. It's the right ball. Harvey Barnes is making a run. He's in the exact right position. He just slightly overhits it. We just haven't seen it enough times from Chelsea, and Newcastle have done it very well today.
Newcastle, just over 22 minutes to play, are heading for their first victory in West London in 14 years, and only their 13th in 90 visits to Stamford Bridge in all competitions. Anthony Gordon's goal in the first half separating the two sides. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. And it's a free kick which Palmer wants to take quickly midway inside his own half. 5 yards in from this near touchline, which is Chelsea's right. He sweeps it out to the left-hand side, met by the head of Livramento. Bounces over Lavia. Willock gets there using his body, picks out Gordon. Gordon with a shot! Palmer! Sanchez palms it away. Palms it away and out of play. Strong hands, strong goalkeeping.
Yeah, it's a good save. He does really well. He waits. Sanchez, Gordon lines it up, tries to whip it into that far right-hand side, and Sanchez was alert to the dangers, full sprint to his left-hand side, 2 hands behind it and parries it in a really good area. But it all came about. Chelsea with a free kick. Cole Palmer's frustrated. He looks to try and hit this massive diagonal and he skies it, and it's easy for Newcastle to deal with. And from that is the direct counter-attack, and that chance comes for Anthony Gordon from that.
Yeah, Murphy with a cross from the right-hand side. Sanchez does well back-pedalling, takes it off the head of Fofana, races up to the edge of his penalty area in all orange tonight with their black and red gloves on. And now Fernandes ambles forward, approaching the centre circle inside his own half. Still Arsenal 0, Everton 0. That's over on 5 Live right now. Conor McNamara and Pat Nevin, your commentary team there. Here it's Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. We've got 20 minutes of the 90 to play. Newcastle edging ever so closer to their first victory here in 14 years. Fernandes onto Delap, right side of the penalty area. Needs to get a shot off, but this time he tried to cross once again, and it was Malik Chow who got in the way. It's come off Delap and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, to be fair, the ball was hit with some pace. I think he does really well getting on the end of it, Liam Delap. And then the only thing he can do is actually try and whip the ball across the face of the goal, because the angle is so acute, he's not going to get a shot on goal. And then Chow's making that last-ditch sliding challenge. So it's really good defending and also very well collected from Liam Delap.
Stoppage in play. So a few of the players have rushed down to this near touchline to take some liquids on. It's a Newcastle player who's receiving treatment. Not quite sure who it is, just eyesight's been shaded by the physio. It looks like it's Joe Willock, who is just lying down on his back at the moment. So it gives me a chance just to run through what happened earlier on in the Premier League today. Ended Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1. So a good win for the South Coast side. Minter with the goal for Brighton. It's still currently Arsenal 0, Everton 0. West Ham and Manchester City kick off at 8 o'clock, and you can hear reports of that on 5 Live into the final Six Nations game of the season. Live from Paris as soon as Arsenal and Everton finish in North London. 0-0 currently at the Emirates there. France win, they'll be Six Nations champions. If England win, they'll do Ireland a favour, and Ireland, who've already secured the triple crown, will become the Six Nations champions this season. Tomorrow we've got Manchester United, Aston Villa and Liverpool and Tottenham on 5 Live as plays still there waiting. Joe Willock has come off the pitch. Play will restart with Ramsdale taking this goal kick to our right hand side. And on Sports Extra we've got Nottingham Forest against Fulham. Sports Extra 2, Mark will be there in the commentary box alongside Chris Wise. Crystal Palace versus Leeds. Sports Extra 3, the Women's League Cup final, Chelsea versus Manchester United at Ashton Gate in Bristol. So you're all covered there. Plenty of live football right across the 5 Live Sports network. So we're back underway. Willock still off the pitch. It's a throw-in for Newcastle, and there you can hear their supporters in good voice to our left hand side in the shed lower and upper tier at the moment, celebrating a rare lead for Newcastle here at Stamford Bridge. Willock comes back onto the pitch. Joe Linton into Hall. Joe Linton wants it back. Willock flicks it infield. Fernandes read that really well. Wins the ball back for the blue shirts and shorts and white socks of Chelsea. James comes infield. James now on to Cucurella. Edges over the halfway line. Garnacho on that left-hand touchline. Swaps passes with Cucurella. Dead ball line. Clips across in. That's better. Ramsdale did collect it as near post, but there's a bit that's better from Chelsea. More urgency, Mark.
Yeah, more urgency, more runs into the box. Certainly looking to get earlier balls into the dangers area, and they've done that a little bit better, but still need more. Chelsea need more to get themselves back in this game. Newcastle have hustled really well, so out of possession, when they've lost it, they look to try and regain it really quickly. They put a lot of pressure on the ball, and then at times there's swarming players, making it so difficult for Chelsea to find any rhythm.
Fernandes, to be fair to him, that's the first time he's poor back pass, but he diligently won it back, and he kind of celebrated to himself. He knew that was not good enough from him. He's won possession again for Chelsea and set into that rhythm. Every single Newcastle player inside their own half, actually every single outfield player apart from Robert Sanchez inside the Newcastle half, which is to our right hand side. James with a crossing, Cucurella gets there first, Delap skies it over the top. That was a chance. Chelsea haven't created much this game, but that was a chance, and that's gone over the top into the lower tier of the Matthew Harding stand. It's a goal kick to Newcastle. Chelsea still trail by 1-0.
Yeah, it's big chance for Liam Delap as the ball pops down. Cucurella makes the run, and as he's making a run sort of towards the far post area on the 6-yard box, as the ball comes in, as he's challenged, the ball just pops back. It's almost like a perfect layback to Liam Delap, and he just snaps at it. He tries to hit it with too much power rather than guide it, because he's in an area 8, 9, 10 yards out. Could have easily just guided it back in towards the far post area, and I would think that Ramsdale would have had very little chance to make the save because of the pace of the ball and the proximity of it.
Play stopped again. Joe Willock has gone down, so it looks like his evening is up, and Dan Burn is stripped and ready to join the action. This will mean Newcastle will go into a back three. Some real presence there once Burn comes on in Chow, Botman and Burn. Livramento and Hall will play as wing backs, and Willock taking his time, as you would expect, as his side are leading. No rush from Newcastle. Anthony Elanga as well is coming on, so that's a positive change by Eddie Howe. Let's see the changes. We know Willock has made way, and who is the second player to come off the pitch for Newcastle. Put the boys, actually three to come on, Mark. It's going to be Trippier coming on as well, so let's wait and see. Willock is the only player who's made way so far, and Tino Livramento as well. He's had a few layoffs. This has taken an absolute... they've changed their mind, so Trippier is not coming on. This is delaying tactics, because it came right to the edge of the penalty area, to the touchline, to come off. It's confusing here as well. Jacob Murphy is coming off. It's quite farcical, actually, this. Paul Tierney's gone down to have a word with Eddie Howe. Jacob Murphy is off. Anthony Elanga is on. Joe Willock is off. Dan Burn is on. We got there in the end. Look, sometimes there's a bit of mind games going on. Sometimes you want to delay it slightly longer, or the player maybe turned around and said, look, I'm fine, I'm okay. So could be a bit of everything, I think. Yeah, with 13 minutes to play, Fernandes, long raking ball onto the chest of Garnacho, comes in field, gives it back to Fernandes. Fernandes flicks it forward. Pedro onto Cucurella. Cucurella gets there first. He's claiming he's come off a hand of a Newcastle player. Referee didn't see anything. He's awarded a corner. He's pushing away the Chelsea players with his two hands, telling them to ease away. Had a word with James. James just urging the Matthew Harding lower tier to get behind the team. As always, it will be checked before this corner, but it's checks over. So corner will be allowed to be taken. 2-yard run up once again from James. Strokes it in to crowded near post. It's headed back to him. He has time to measure up another cross. Good deep one to the far post. And Fofana and Shalabar were there, but it went wide. And it's a goal kick, and Shalabar was hurt in that melee of players at the far post. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1, 12 minutes to play. Here are the thoughts of Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, it was a really good ball. A second attempt from Reece James as he floats in towards that far post. There is so many players there. Ramsdale comes out. He just runs into a complete melee of players, and it's Trevor Chalobah, I think, gets the final touch on the ball, and he's not far off heading that in the back of the net, obviously under a lot of pressure, probably about 5 yards out. So it was a big chance for Chelsea.
Newcastle taking their time over all of their restarts. Champions League commentaries on Tuesday and Wednesday night. Tuesday night live from the Etihad. Manchester City against Real Madrid. City trailing from the first leg by 3-0. And on Wednesday we'll be with Newcastle in Barcelona. That gets off and underway at 5:30, the programme, with a kick-off at 5:45. 1-1 from the first leg. Once that's over, we'll be heading to Anfield for Liverpool Galatasaray. Liverpool trailing 1-0 from the first leg, and Tottenham against Atletico Madrid will have reports into the Liverpool Galatasaray game. Tottenham, we know, trailing by 5-2 from the first leg. So you're up to date with all the live commentaries coming your way across the 5 Live Sports network. We've got 10 minutes to play of normal time here at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. The goal in the first half from Anthony Gordon after 18 minutes. His 5th Premier League goal of the season and his 16th in all competitions. James comes in field once again. Newcastle getting their shape. Everyone behind the ball. Fernandes up to the edge of the penalty area with a cross. It's cleared away by Burn. Now picks out Alanga. He's just approaching the halfway line. Comes in field to Joe Linton. Joe Linton rolls it back to Livramento. And Newcastle have done this well all evening, Mark.
Yeah, they've been comfortable at times, haven't they? They're really defended well. They've been well organised, and the work rate has been exceptional. Back and forward, every time they go on to attack, they get numbers back really quickly if they lose the ball, or they look to try and pounce and regain position very, very quickly. So at the moment, they've been very good for the 1-0 lead. Chelsea at times have just been a little bit too slow, a little bit sluggish.
9 minutes to play. Gordon, left-footed effort, and it was taken well by Sanchez. He didn't dive this time down to his left-hand side, just moved a couple of yards to his left and palmed it down. Very comfortable goalkeeping. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Another change about to be made. It's a defensive change. It's going to be Hato who's coming on for Chelsea. Pedro into Delap, and Chow and Delap pushed him. That was can be dangerous actually. He pushed him when the goalkeeper Ramsdale and Chow were meeting together. Chow was going to let the ball run out of play. Really something I like to see as Fofana comes off and Hato comes on to replace him. So he'll slot into midfield. He'll go alongside Chalobah. Cucurella will stay in his left back role, and very rarely do you see Fofana play 3 games in a week, and probably start against Paris Saint-Germain here on Tuesday night. So he's been given the last 10 minutes or so to rest up. Lavia, haven't mentioned him much since he's come on. Now Chalobah as Chelsea go forward in search of an equaliser. Still 0-0 at the Emirates between Arsenal and Everton. And Arsenal going to drop points in the Premier League title race. Manchester City will kick off at 8 o'clock against West Ham in the east of the capital. Hato now gets the ball back from Fernandes. Lavia, once again, Newcastle in their shape. How many times have we said that in commentary? Garnacho with a cross from the right hand side. Burn with a header. Palmer tries to control, gets away from him. Gordon gets away from Lavia and wins a free kick.
What you're dealing with now with Newcastle defensively, they've got obviously with the back 3, Dan Burn on the left side of it, Botman in the middle, and then Chow on the other side. So any balls you've got into the box, you've got to hit with a bit of height, or you've got to hit them earlier. and they're not hurting them earlier. They're looking to try and get them over that first man. And when you come on this side, for example, where you saw there Garnacho trying to whip a ball in, he's trying to get it over Dan Burn, and that's a tough job, trying to get it over him, but also trying to reach one of your teammates in the box. So they've got to be quicker. They've got to get those balls in behind earlier, in between the defenders and the goalkeeper, and then get runs onto it. Better movement, or look for cutbacks.
Ramsdale just picked up Newcastle's first yellow card of the evening for time wasting, essentially. Took his time over the restart of the free kick. Chelsea in a hurry now. 6 minutes of the 90 to play, plus any time that will be added on. There will be a couple of minutes without a doubt because of the changes that have been made by both managers. Otherwise there hasn't really been any other delay. Delab chases a ball down the left-hand channel, finds Cucurella, plays it in field. Quite fortunately trickles to Palmer. Fernandes, now Lavia. Small space in the central area of the pitch. Once again Newcastle defending really well. They've made it hard, very, very hard for Chelsea to break them down, especially when they get set like this. Palmer on this right hand side puts a cross in, the header comes in from Delap. That was better, he got there before Botman just flicked his header wide of the far post, and it's a goal kick to the visitors. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1.
It was the first time in the game that sort of ball comes into the box from Chelsea. They're on the right hand side, they want to knock it in on their right, whip it in, come back out on the left, and the delivery of the ball is such that it's so difficult to defend against. Liam Delap makes a really good run. He is so close for flicking that on and going into that far post area. That's what Chelsea need to do more of. They've just hardly done. This is the first time in the whole game where 86th minute that sort of delivery goes in the box.
That's the voice of Mark Schwarzer, former Australian international goalkeeper, and also played in the Premier League for Fulham and Middlesbrough, and he also played here at Chelsea on a few occasions as well. Familiar voice on 5 Live Football. Lavia out to Garnacho on this near side. Garnacho swapped wings temporarily, plays the ball back in field to Lavia just outside the penalty area, central area of the pitch, tries to find Garnacho again, well defended by Barnes. That's the discipline from Newcastle. You've had Barnes and Gordon, they're willing to trap back. This is a corner for Chelsea, Mark.
How many times have they done it as well? Gordon and Barnes, how many times have they been back and made key defensive challenges in their own box, but always under control?
James takes responsibility of the corners, ambles forward, right-footed corner, drifts into the near post, headed away, comes back out to him midway inside the Newcastle half, and now it's to Hato. Centre half finds himself really high up the pitch, well defended by Hall and Ramsey, and Hall just wallops the ball forward in the direction of the halfway line. Cucurella controls, plays it through the centre circle, then gets it back. He's on the right hand side now. Palmer comes short, gives it to James. Palmer wants it back. James infield, he goes to Lavia just outside the penalty area, and then it's just swept forward by Byrne.
Yeah, that's what Newcastle don't want to do for these remaining 3 minutes of normal time plus added time. They don't want to be, every time they get the ball, look and just hoof it forward. They don't want to have this siege mentality. They need to try and retain a bit of possession, find an out, get control of it, and have a bit of a breather, move up the pitch. At the moment, they're camped in their own half on the edge of their 18-yard box, and it's attempt after attempt for Chelsea to try and break the line.
Palmer tries to wriggle around the outside of Byrne. Byrne says the ball ran out of play on the dead ball line. Assistant referee doesn't agree with him. James now to Palmer on this near right hand side. Palmer strokes the ball in field to Lavia, midway inside Newcastle's half, attacking the goal to our right, which is a Matthew Harding stand, trailing by a goal to nil. Garnacho clips across in. That should be comfortable for Ramsdale. It is comfortable for Ramsdale. Liam Rosenior turns away, heads into his seat in his dugout, and he's heading towards his first defeat at home in the Premier League as the Chelsea boss.
Yeah, poor delivery from Garnacho. Nothing on it really, just floated it towards the far post, and it's an easy one for Ramsdale to come out and collect, and that gives Newcastle the opportunity to get a breather, to move up the pitch. Now they're in Chelsea's half. First time in probably 10 minutes they've actually ventured back into Chelsea half. Now they can try and control the game and wind the clock down. But Chelsea's just been too sluggish, too lacklustre, and also lacking in any real ideas.
Yeah, especially when they go centrally, Mark, as they attack the edge of the Newcastle box. It's just been the same for 89 minutes now.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to take that out of your head, that you're trying to build up as many passes as possible, touches. You know, there's little touches like 1 metre away from each other, 2 metres away from each other, going back into the congested area. They're not turning out, hitting the ball with a bit of conviction. Then someone take a touch and whipping in the danger area.
Ball with a free kick, punched away by Sanchez, help forward by Fernandez. Referee blows up for a foul on Sanchez. Lewis Hall just picked up Newcastle's second yellow card, by the way, for time wasting and taking that free kick. So 2 yellow cards for Newcastle in the last 6 minutes, both for time wasting. The goalkeeper Ramsdale, and then Hall, the left fullback, as we approach the 90th minute. Fourth official about to show us how many we will have left here at Stamford Bridge in time added on. Chelsea trailing at home to Newcastle by 1-0, not what they envisaged as they head to a real crucial second leg game here at the Bridge against Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday evening. 8 minutes. Where did that come from? Because we didn't have any injuries, we didn't have any stoppages. It's remarkable as Arsenal have taken the lead at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Everton 0. Dramatic in North London. That's over on 5 Live. We've got 8 minutes of stoppage time here, Mark Schwarzer.
Well, we had a stop, didn't we, for players to get drinks, and some of the players to take on some food. I mean, that's normally 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but then the rest of the time, I don't know. I don't think there's been many. Obviously, we had a couple of times with a couple of Newcastle players going down injured. There was Willock down a few times, so maybe.
Also maybe that little dancing on the edge of the touchline when we thought Trippier was coming on and didn't come on, and Livramento darted from the right hand side. Anyway, we're into it. Chelsea are trailing, Arsenal are leading. Victor Gyökeres with the goal. Probably feel the relief from North London to South West London. Arsenal 1, Everton 0. That's over on 5 Live. West Ham Manchester City to come. Reports into the Six Nations game between France and England. That's going to come live from Paris as well after Arsenal and Everton, and we're heading to Florida after this game finishes the third round of the Players' Championship. We'll be going there when we pack up from here. Still got 7 minutes to play though, and Chelsea have a free kick. Central area of the pitch, 10 yards away from the edge of Newcastle's penalty area. This is Reece James territory. Him and Cole Palmer over the ball. Would be dramatic if he managed to equalise here. It's 2-man war for Newcastle. Palmer is going to leave it, I'm sure, for James. James will take his time, places the ball very carefully. Good 30 yards away from goal. Palmer and James. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. 2-man war. Palmer runs over it, leaves it for James. James strikes it! Oh, it might have just grazed the foot of the post, but nonetheless it's gone wide. Can't produce the magic this time. It's a goal kick. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1.
Oh, almost perfection. It was a brilliant free kick. It really was. He hits it with some pace, and it dips and swerves and kicks off the surface. I'm not sure if Ramsdale has it covered. It does definitely flick the bottom, right in the bottom of the post on the outside of it, just grazes it as it goes past, but it was hit with some real venom.
Doesn't have a long run up on his corners or his free kicks, just 2 or 3 yards, and strides up there and generates the power from those chunky, muscular thighs and calves that Reece James has. Good news as he extended his contract. Not the Saturday evening that he would have hoped for, as he watches and he's there playing, seeing his team currently trailing at home to Newcastle with 93 minutes played, another 5 to play of added time here on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. more Premier League football tomorrow. We've got 4 live commentaries across the 5 Live network, but Lavia now on to James, central area of the pitch, down to this right hand side. Palmer wants Garnacho to make a run, tries to play on the inside of Hall. Hall will try and allow this ball to run out of play. That was rash by Cucurella. Didn't need to do that. Hall wasn't going anywhere. Could have just stopped and defended it, and he would have put Hall under more pressure.
Yeah, you can see Cole Palmer plays the ball in behind, off the shoulder of Hall, where he wants Garnacho to go, but Garnacho's nowhere near it. He's second best of the ball by a long shot, and Hall, it's pretty easy for him just to turn and take it out. And then Cucurella's obviously made that darting run to try and win the challenge, but Hall was just easy to step across him, and by doing so, it's a clear foul.
Right, we've got 4 minutes to play. Eddie Howe just outside his technical area, hands in his black tracksuit bottom, just watching his team. A bit of history for him and this Newcastle team, if they manage to hold on to this 3 points, first win in 14 years here at Stamford Bridge. It will be if they can see out these remaining minutes. Hall with a header backwards, only as far as Garnacho, but Burns, 6 foot 7 inch frame, heads it out to play. It's a corner for Chelsea, Mark.
Yeah, it's obviously getting desperate time now for Chelsea to try and get something out of this game. They're just lacking. Well, even now, it's just taking an age to try and get this corner taken.
This time it's Palmer who'll take it for the first time this evening. James is just outside the penalty area, down this near side, but Palmer left-footed, headed away by the Newcastle defence, comes back out to James, and Palmer once again first time cross in the direction of the near post, and Byrne with a thunderous header out of play. Throw-in taken quickly, 2 balls on the pitch, and James to Palmer. Referee wants that to be retaken, so Palmer once again takes it quickly. Cucurella, clock's ticking down, 96th minute now, still 2 minutes to play. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. Palmer heads down this near side, wants players to make something for him. Ask Shalabar to come in field. It's 3 passes wasted, now 4th one out, and they haven't done anything. Chelsea, they've pushed it from right to left, need to get the ball in the penalty area. Fernandez with time to shoot, blocked by Chow. Comes out to Shalabar, now to James. James tries to surge forward, left-footed cross. Pedro gets his foot in there. Brave defending by Botman, who was almost calf-high with his head. Tried to stoop his header out of the penalty area. Does fall to Gordon, and now Barnes just clips it forward to the pacey Alanga, who will be met by Hato. Hato takes the throw-in quickly. And we're into the last 90 seconds, Mark. It's Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, it's a desperate time for Chelsea now to try and get something out of this game. They're trying, they're getting players forward, but just the game, the movement of the ball is just too slow. Not getting balls into the box earlier. Too many players just trying to take touches.
Into the last 60 seconds we go. Pedro with a header onto the roof of the net. Palmer with a floating cross. Pedro with a header 8 yards away onto the roof of the net. Ramsdale had that covered. Goal kick to Newcastle. That's been the story all evening long. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1.
There's a couple of times now they've done that sort of same delivery into that area, you know, whipping it towards the goal at a height, so it's really difficult to defend against. If you get an attacker in front of him, he's the one that's going to get the first touch. That was again this time Joel Pedro. He gets the flick on. Ramsdale, like you said, I think he had it covered pretty comfortably, so just not enough from Chelsea.
And 16-year-old Max Dowman has got Arsenal's second. They've wrapped up the points there. They'll go 10 points ahead now of Manchester City as they get set to kick off in East London against West Ham. Live reports of that into the Six Nations game coming up live on 5 Live from 8 o'clock as the referee Paul Tierney blows his full-time whistle, met with ecstatic cheers and jubilation from our left-hand side from the Newcastle supporters, because they've witnessed the first win for Newcastle in the Premier League against Chelsea in 14 years. And Stamford Bridge, apart from the shed end to our left, is emptying very, very quickly, Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, you can hear the clear frustration on the Chelsea fans. It wasn't a good performance from Chelsea at all. It just lacked intensity, lacked any ideas. Quality was missing as well. It just looked like a side that really was down in energy. Didn't have the levels that you want them to have. Certainly when you're coming up against a side like Newcastle, very well organised. Got to have a quick ball movement to try and break them down. You've got to draw them out of position. Chelsea just played right into them, and it was too easy. But you've got to give credit to Newcastle. Worked really hard. Every single player, from the front players all the way to the back, defended really well, and exceptional discipline. And they took the chance when they got it.
Newcastle's form in the Premier League, Mark, hasn't been the greatest. They've only won 2 of their last 8, but this will lift them going to Barcelona on Wednesday in the Champions League.
It will. You know what? Like I said, it was a really good defensive performance from Newcastle. Well disciplined, worked really, really hard. But Chelsea should have broken them down. They should have had more chances. They should have really have won this game. I mean, they've got the better quality overall, I believe. But they just didn't ask enough questions. I thought Newcastle was there to be beaten, but got to give Newcastle credit. They dug in, they did well, they worked really hard, and in the end, they come away with 3 points.
Newcastle players are going to celebrate with their supporters to our left-hand side as the West Stand opposite from where Mark and I are watching this game, and the Matthew Harding stand as well, has emptied pretty rapidly. Final word on Chelsea. If they'd won this evening with Manchester United and Aston Villa and Liverpool all playing tomorrow, they would have gone 3rd in the Premier League, but didn't look like a team who were going to go 3rd with a victory. They lacked that spark, that energy, that urgency.
They did, and look, I think in Paris they actually played some really good football. They were broken apart. They were taken apart. You know, there was a couple of mistakes that led to goals, but they were exposed. But they did also take the game. They had a lot more energy, a lot more intensity, a lot more ideas. And today was a completely different side, a team that just looked void of those ideas and intensity, and just wasn't enough. You can't just turn up and expect to win. You've got to do more, and they didn't do enough today.